Someone out there knows something that can bring her home.
And authorities are stressing this morning whoever provides the crucial tip that leads to Nancy Guthrie can be eligible for that $1 million reward and still choose to remain anonymous, Michael.
The mystery surrounding Nancy Guthrie's disappearance continues to deepen, and with every passing day, investigators are working to piece together what happened during the hours that changed everything. What began as a missing person case has evolved into a complex investigation involving surveillance footage, forensic evidence, suspicious vehicle activity, and a growing list of unanswered questions. Despite weeks of effort by law enforcement, Nancy has still not been found, leaving her family, friends, and the wider community searching for answers. Before we continue, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you can receive first-hand updates on this case and other developing investigations as new information becomes available. Authorities remain focused on one primary goal: finding Nancy Guthrie and determining exactly what happened inside and around her home on the day she vanished. Investigators continue to encourage members of the public to come forward with any information, no matter how insignificant it may seem. In cases like this, even the smallest detail can become the missing piece that helps detectives establish a timeline or identify a suspect. Law enforcement officials have repeatedly emphasized that public cooperation remains critical. Detectives believe there may be individuals who unknowingly witnessed something unusual before or after the incident. A vehicle parked in an unfamiliar location, a person walking through the neighborhood at an unusual hour, or any suspicious activity that may have appeared insignificant at the time could now be highly relevant to the investigation. To encourage additional cooperation, a substantial reward remains available for information that leads investigators closer to solving the case. Authorities have also stressed that tipsters can remain anonymous. This option is particularly important in cases where individuals may be hesitant to come forward due to fear of involvement or concern about their identity becoming public. Investigators hope the combination of anonymity and a significant reward will motivate anyone with knowledge of the events to contact authorities. One of the most troubling aspects of the investigation is the growing belief that Nancy's disappearance may not have been a random crime. As investigators continue reviewing evidence, many signs appear to suggest planning and preparation. Detectives have not publicly disclosed every detail supporting this theory, but the evidence available so far has led many experts to believe the suspect may have deliberately targeted the residence. This possibility changes the nature of the investigation significantly. Random crimes often leave behind unpredictable patterns, while planned crimes may involve surveillance, preparation, and deliberate attempts to avoid detection. Investigators are carefully examining whether someone spent time studying Nancy's routines, observing the property, or learning details about the home before the incident occurred. Reports indicate that Nancy was taken from her home while she was in bed, a detail that has shocked many observers following the case. If accurate, this would suggest an unusually bold and highly personal intrusion. Crimes occurring inside a person's residence often raise concerns about how the suspect gained access and whether they possessed prior knowledge of the home's layout. The idea that someone could enter a residence, approach an elderly woman while she slept, and leave without immediately attracting attention has become one of the most disturbing elements of the investigation. Detectives continue examining every possible scenario while avoiding premature conclusions. A major development came from surveillance images obtained during the investigation. One image reportedly shows a masked individual near the residence. The photograph quickly became one of the most discussed pieces of evidence because it potentially places an unidentified person close to the property around the relevant time frame. Investigators have been carefully analyzing the image in hopes of identifying distinguishing characteristics. Even when a suspect's face is concealed, details such as height, body shape, clothing, walking style, and movement patterns can provide valuable clues. Modern investigative techniques often allow experts to extract useful information from footage that initially appears limited. A second surveillance image has generated even more interest. According to investigators, it may indicate that someone was conducting surveillance before the incident occurred. This possibility has fueled speculation that the suspect may have spent time observing the property prior to Nancy's disappearance. If the individual seen in the image was indeed watching the residence beforehand, it would strengthen the theory that the crime involved planning rather than spontaneous action. Detectives are attempting to determine whether the person appeared in the area on multiple occasions and whether additional cameras captured similar activity. Meanwhile, experts continue debating the exact nature of the crime itself. Several theories remain under consideration. Some believe the evidence points toward a kidnapping. Others suggest the possibility of a burglary that escalated into something more serious. Another theory is that the incident may have involved a home invasion with intentions that remain unclear. Each possibility carries different implications. A kidnapping suggests the victim was the primary target. A burglary would indicate property may have been the original objective. A home invasion raises questions about whether the suspect entered the residence intending to confront someone inside. Detectives continue evaluating evidence carefully before committing publicly to any single explanation. Among all the evidence collected so far, Ring camera footage remains one of the most significant pieces of the investigation. Surveillance technology has become an invaluable tool in modern criminal cases, often providing investigators with objective records of activity that might otherwise go unnoticed. The Ring footage is believed to contain critical information about movements around the property and surrounding area. Investigators have spent countless hours reviewing the recordings frame by frame, looking for details that may help establish a timeline. Every vehicle, pedestrian, and unusual movement is being analyzed for potential relevance. The footage may also help detectives determine whether multiple individuals were involved. In many investigations, surveillance recordings reveal patterns that become clearer over time as additional evidence emerges. For this reason, authorities continue treating the video evidence as a central component of the case. Another important lead involves a Kia Soul that was reportedly observed near the area. Investigators are working to determine whether the vehicle played any role in Nancy's disappearance or whether its presence was purely coincidental. Detectives have been reviewing vehicle registrations, tracking potential movements, and examining available footage from nearby cameras. Vehicles frequently become key evidence in missing person investigations because they can help establish travel routes, identify suspects, or reveal previously unknown connections. Investigators are carefully tracing every lead related to the Kia Soul while avoiding assumptions until sufficient evidence is obtained. At the same time, forensic specialists continue processing physical evidence collected during the investigation. DNA analysis, fingerprint examination, and other laboratory procedures often require significant time, particularly in complex cases involving multiple evidence sources. Although forensic testing can be slow, it has the potential to provide some of the strongest evidence available to investigators. Even small traces of biological material can sometimes identify individuals, establish timelines, or eliminate persons of interest. Detectives remain hopeful that laboratory results may eventually provide answers that traditional investigative methods have not yet uncovered. Despite the passage of weeks, authorities continue stressing that the case remains active. Investigators are still pursuing leads, conducting interviews, reviewing surveillance footage, and analyzing forensic evidence. The absence of immediate answers has not diminished efforts to locate Nancy or determine what happened. Several important details also remain undisclosed. This is a common investigative strategy designed to protect the integrity of the case. By withholding certain information, detectives can better evaluate future tips, verify statements from potential suspects, and preserve evidence that may become critical later. What remains clear is that surveillance footage has become central to the investigation, evidence increasingly suggests the possibility of prior planning, and law enforcement continues working every available lead. Yet many questions remain unanswered. Who was the masked individual seen near the residence? Was the property being watched before the incident occurred? What role, if any, did the Kia Soul play? And most importantly, where is Nancy Guthrie? Until those questions are answered, investigators will continue their search, forensic experts will continue their analysis, and Nancy's loved ones will continue hoping for the breakthrough that finally brings clarity to this troubling case. For now, the investigation remains very much alive, and authorities are urging anyone with information to come forward as they work towards solving one of the community's most perplexing mysteries.